Peace, 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 family. How's everybody doing? I hope that you all are having a wonderful day so far. I know I've already done a video on Venus and Capricorn, and I'm probably going to be repeating myself a lot throughout this time, but I had another perspective that I wanted to do, so I felt like it was a need, though, to do this twice. So even if I am repeating a lot of the things from the last video, I just felt like this time this was kind of needed because this is so deep, family. We're dealing with some really, really, really deep rooted things that we are releasing at this time. And I've had a few calls and questions about it. And I have some personal stuff going on, so I might even continue doing smaller videos and coming up with different scenarios because I'm trying to cover the gambit, right? Because this is huge. This is huge. And I feel like even in an hour, there's no way that you can cover all the different ways that it can happen. And I'm trying to do that to help people as much as I can. Get us through this time, because I think this is going to be a lot heavier than maybe even some people are anticipating. So Venus and Capricorn, really this is going to be about defining your success on your terms, getting grounded in your values, raising your standards because you're worth it, or because you know your worth, and having self-respect, right? Those were the themes as I was going through this again that really came up the most for me. So Pluto is going to come in and destroy anything that is not in alignment with its higher self. It's going to show you where you're not in your power, where you're ready to evolve and make higher choices and experience something that you have not experienced before. Now, of course, for me, I feel like this is definitely around relationships more than anything, because Venus is a personal planet and Pluto is a generational planet, but it's in Venus, and so right now it's operating under the skies, I guess is a good way to say it, or rulership of Venus. So this is really, 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 really going to be about our day-to-day things, right? But I am also going to touch on it from a Plutonian perspective, because we currently have Pluto in Capricorn, and so using Capricorn as the personal planet, right? And so I will talk from it from that perspective as well. And when I thought about this and making higher decisions, what I really picked up is, are we in the right romantic relationships? And so if you're not in a relationship and you're just working on building yourself up to find the right relationships, you're going to get massive amounts of downloads on, first of all, congratulations, right, for holding out, standing your ground, and focusing on yourself. Secondly, you're going to want to perhaps at this time, you're ready to evolve and then change to perhaps maybe starting to date, right? And so how can this thing come up for you? You could possibly be interested in just taking it slow, like just literally like, I'm trying on the things that I've challenged myself to learn while I was single, and moving that now into perhaps dating. And so taking things very slow, only choosing to date people with potential, under the guise of your values and what you're trying to build in your life. And, really making sure that you're following step-by-step process, but not rigidly. We're talking about Pluto here. Remember, Pluto is about power and control. So being mindful of how you're trying to control and manipulate how that process goes. So you really have to let go here and be in the moment, but also making sure that, again, you'll have your I don't know, we'll call them your 5 standards, or your 5 absolutely I cannot go without types things, right? And those are all the things that you want to know up front, right? And then it's about being in the moment day by day. And as you grow within that connection, if you find something that you really like, then you're going to feel the emotions starting to bubble up, right? And then once you get to that point, these are the people who've been in relationships now for quite some time, right? And you're figuring out how to move to the next step. And perhaps even managing life things that are coming up for you and your partner when it relates to finances, your relationship to finances. Maybe you've got some kids stuff going on, or there's a blended family here, and other things are coming up, and now you're going to have to find new ways to operate within your union. So it could be things like that coming up, and maybe even rewriting your vows, making sure that you're finding time as a union to, even though these things are coming up, to not let the fun be sucked out of the relationship because you have so much heaviness in the relationship. How are we getting through this together? And I think, as we go throughout all these different processes, the thing to keep in mind, because this energy can get really heavy and dark, is to make sure that you and your partner have specific things like goals, hobbies, games, like things that you can do to work on together as a couple without actually having a conversation. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get down to the Gemini stuff. And what did you learn from the last Venus retrograde cycle, which was in Gemini back in March? Okay, so Capricorn is going to show us how far we've come, what we've mastered, what we've achieved, where we've matured. We're considering the long-term, our long-term goals and achievements here with this placement. And Venus wants to bring in assistance, harmony, and joy. She wants to offer support. She wants to offer gifts, and remind us of the importance of our relationships. So again, relationships are really, really, really going to be deep here. Even our relationship with ourselves. So just like going back to if you're single, taking yourself on, date yourself first, love yourself first, so that when you do start to go into union and you're ready to take it to the next level, you've played house with yourself. You know what you want. Keep notes, keep track of this process, so that when you're in it, what you really want to begin to do is to start writing down when you're feeling your emotions bubbling up. And then you assess your emotions in relation to that process. Like, am I being realistic here? We just met, and am I expecting too much? And sitting down and having the important conversation with yourself. Don't ever lose the relationship that you've built with yourself. That's going to be key here when you're talking about building a healthy relationship. Because when you do come together, what we tend to do, or what we have intended to do, what we did was maybe perhaps merged so much so that we began picking up ways of the other person. And now that's not healthy. I know that we might want to think that it is, but it's not healthy. You don't go into a relationship to become that other person, because now you're not being yourself. And eventually you're going to start to feel starved of what you really want and what you really need. And you cannot let that go, right? But what you don't want to do is let it get so much to the point where you're starting to ask with anger. That's where the karma comes in. And now we have to undo everything that you've worked so hard on to have better relationships. And now you're stuck in this cycle, right? And so it's the patterns, being aware of the patterns, how you ask to hold yourself accountable for your patterns. Considering your responsibility in the relationship to staying on key, to staying yourself, holding yourself accountable for your actions. That's going to be key when you start to merge with another person. And having consistent conversations about it. I'm not talking about in a petty, argumentative conflict way, right? Hey, babe, I noticed that my emotions are getting the best of me. I might have been acting A, B, and C. This is my time where I really need to sit and reflect. I might need some me time, right? And this is when you have to have a space in your relationship where you get to be alone from time to time, or this is where you go out with your girlfriends, or you continue what you were doing, taking care of yourself, licking your wounds, right? You're healing here. This is the healing process when you were single. Right? How did you take care of yourself when you were single? And yes, it should be also not that they don't get the opportunity to do those things for you. You'll have times when you're in a relationship where they'll be the person helping you heal and you're doing this together. But there are going to be times where emotionally you might find yourself in a place where you're like, I'm not really seeing something clearly. And you'll know what this is when you're feeling it. And what do I need to do so that I can deal with that? And so having healthy boundaries in relationships and talking about that enough with your partner so that they know that you're not disconnecting, or they don't see that as you trying to leave, or now they're second guessing the relationship, right? So you have to have an open line of communication so that you can continuously be on the same page, but you have to stand up for yourself and speak out for yourself and say, this is how I'm feeling. And it's all on how you sell it and having deeper conversations about that, right? And so Venus wants to bring in assistance, harmony, and joy. She wants to offer support. She wants to offer gifts and remind us of the importance of all of our relationships, how we're relating with all the things in our life, your goals, your talents, how you're developing confidence. Because what she's going to do, again, is she's going to cut it out. But again, I have to preface the cut it out stuff, right? Because sometimes I feel like I watch a lot of tarot, and I'll hear them sometimes use specific keywords, like the swords represent cutting shit out of your life and not dealing. But you have to know your relationship. Is it a cutting out, like, okay, you really need to leave them? Or is it that you need to have adult conversations on saying how you feel, what you're experiencing in your emotions, and how you need to deal with that moving forward for yourself, for your own peace of mind? Because it's not somebody else's job to help you stay, to help you, what do they call that? Captain Save-A-Ho? They're not here to save you. They can't. Because even if someone was giving you enough attention, then when you find yourself is still wanting more, right? And when you find yourself in that position, then that means Spirit wants you to take accountable for your own feelings. This is how you have healthy relationships, so that perhaps, say you do end up breaking up in the long run and things don't work out. This is how you begin to have healthy relationships and healing and closure when the relationship breaks up, right? So that you're not in that energy of, well, I can't go on without this person because they've always coddled me or held me when I wasn't in the right state of mind. And again, I'm not saying that those things can't take place, but you also have to keep some of that to help you continuously grow spiritually, right? We have to have our own spiritual journey karmically in this lifetime. That's what we're here to experience, right? And when we put that off on somebody else, it's really, 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 really easy to get caught up in an illusion that's not real, you know? And then think about it from this perspective. When that person's going through something, who's going to help them if you're not strong enough to do the like, right? So there's got to be some form of responsibility for yourself and each other. Okay, I hope that I'm making sense when I say that. Okay. Okay. So this is going to bring up fear and wants you to look at your fear in the face. And these can be fears around money, love, and you'll be asking yourself, what are the barriers keeping me from these, whatever this is that might be coming up for you. And so remember, when we're in retrograde season, and I say this lightly because I know that everybody can't just stop their life because there's a retrograde. So I'm trying to add some realisticism and what it is I'm saying, because I understand that not everybody can do that. We have, stuff to do. And so, but finding time to be able to sit with yourself and not really moving forward on anything, but focusing on the past, because we are in a Venus retrograde. This is going to bring up things from the past. You are going to be tested. People are going to be testing you on the things that you need to be holding yourself accountable for, right? And so you want to reflect on anything that's coming up. Challenge yourself to read more, learn more. If you need counseling, get counseling. And deal with those issues, because what's going to happen is things are going to get real tight. Like, you're going to begin to feel the pressure if you haven't already. I've gotten a lot of calls on this, which is another reason why I'm going back over this energy and trying to come from it from a different perspective, because if you're feeling the pressure, let go. Let it go. Let it go. You will immediately feel the release. And if this is about a relationship specifically, and they can't understand that you need to take space because of whatever it is that's coming up around your emotions, let go and let God, right? You can't worry about that right now, because you are not in a position to be worrying about anybody else if you cannot do it for yourself. Point blank, period. That's why I keep stressing the never let go of the singledom actions and lessons that you learned within that process. That's going to be your ground zero rule, right? It's essential. Now, again, in order to deal with that, It's about being able to have a conversation about that. Babe, something's going on with my emotions. I can't quite intellectualize it. I really don't know what's going on, but I need to figure it out. And in order for me to do that, I need a little bit more space. So you only give where you're being given at this time, right? These are the things, the ways that this can come up. If they're only giving specific things, you make sure whatever they give, you give it back, but don't add any additional. You know, you work on what other things that you need to work on, and until you get real clear about, okay, this is it, this is what's missing. And once you have whatever that is, then you again come back, sit down and have a conversation about it. But use this retrograde period to figure that out, right? And then come back, I'd say the end of January, to start having these conversations, because it'll be direct. And even though we'll be in shadow all through February, if you want to wait till March officially, you can do that too, just to have what did I learn throughout this time conversation. Okay. All right. Okay, so Venus in Capricorn is reconstructing what it meant to make a living, what it meant to be a productive member of society, what you should be, what you should do with your life when you get older, because that's kind of what we've always been taught, right? Go to school, get a good education, get a job. Well, we can clearly see that that's not the case anymore, because don't nobody want no damn job. And maybe there's still some people out there that do. I should really stop saying that, because not everybody wants to own their own business. But I do think as we get further into this energy, like I've already seen the commercials where they're officially selling the people working from home. Like you can see, whenever you see commercials change like that, this is how you can measure where society is going from their point of view, right? Not saying that it's right or wrong. You can still choose to do whatever you want, but you have to make that decision for yourself, right? And so the commercials are really telling us, okay, this is where they're going to start to push a lot of this energy. But I think there's a lot of still roadblocks, that Saturn stop and go, that because they still need to figure out a structure to make sure they can capitalize off of it, right? And I've talked about this in other videos where they were going to do this. They're watching everything that we've been doing over this last few months, how we've reacted to it, how we've picked up, how we've changed, how we've moved. And now they're, what's a good word? Advertising those things, because they're getting together those modes of operation in the back end to make sure, again, that they could capitalize on whatever it is that we've moved towards throughout this time. And so that's been very interesting to watch, by the way. But this is breaking the chains of our lineage, breaking the unconscious of what we were taught, especially around our career path. Or what you thought your career path would look like, what it meant to be successful, what it meant to have a certain job title, to have certain benefits when you get into a job and a salary. So this is deconstructing your 5-year plan, right? You know, does that still look the same for you with everything that has been going on over this last few years? And I think we're going to see more and more changes of that coming further down the line. So I've done a lot of different videos talking about that. This is just your self-employment, your Maybe you'll still have a job, but again, you'll have the option to work from home now. You'll do things that are more related to technology, right? Because that's what's coming up. Maybe even security. Yeah, I'm trying to think because there's there's not very many things that'll be left to do. That's the problem, and so really focusing on your mission, your purpose in this lifetime. You'll be rethinking all of these things and filling them with a sense of purpose, integrity, and what makes you happy. Now, this can come with financial fatigue. Again, fears around finances. You may experience this through the loss of a career, job, or your partner's income is experiencing this kind of change in some way. But you'll be able to rebuild the pieces back together by learning and understanding new ideas around money, values, and self-worth. So everybody knows at this point that I'm a huge Dr. Boyce fan. And what I really like about him, what he teaches, is the importance of, and maybe even I should start incorporating this when I speak a lot more often. This is not about money, right? I remember him doing a video where he was talking about, like, his daughter was asking him, like, what she should be when she grows up, and she was really thinking and considering, like, what that would be for her. And he said, what I think a better thing to think of is, what do you want your life to look like? What he was doing was challenging her to think about her situation from a different perspective. And I think this is what Capricorn is really trying to show us what to do, because you don't want to build it from that same old thought process, right? We're not talking about salary, money, benefits, and things of that nature. That is a old, low vibrational, kind of locked in way of thinking, right? It doesn't really allow us to plan properly. So we may not have even been making the right decisions in some way, shape, or form in relation to asking ourselves about benefits, salary, being focused on those themes, So really sit back and study your values, what you want. If say, I got it. I know what to say. Say that you've had $1,000. Say you've had an estate in this perfect world. We're going to paint this perfect world picture. So money wasn't an issue, right? By the time you turned 18, your parents had an estate set up for you. So now money wasn't a worry. Now what do you want to do? Think about it from that perspective. If you could build your life in any kind of way, what would it look like? Think about it from that perspective and start building the blocks from there. Do some research on goal setting, what that really looks like, even estate planning, what the value of your lineage is that you want to make now moving forward. What kind of family do you want? Where do you want your family to look like? Think about real practical things in your life that you want. Start building it from there, and then asking yourself, well, now how am I going to get that goal? Right? And because it's such a long-term thing, what it challenges you to do is think differently about money. Like, you're not getting money because of anything other than the fact that it's a tool to help you get what you value, instead of money being the value to getting you what you want. And I hope I'm making sense on this. Again, I'm going to keep going through this until I get the words right to help people really get down to business and understand. But the best thing that you can do is research and study other wealthy people. What did they do? Watch videos, read about them, read their biographies, find out more about their life. How did they build each step? You know, what are other people who you admire and look up to doing to get the things that they want in their life? Those are the things that you want to study around this time. And don't just study and stay there and sit on it and dream on it. Start making action plans to do what it is you need to do to get that dream. Okay. Yep. Yeah. The stronger you understand what it is that you want, what this is for you, whatever this dream is, this thing that you're building, the better you'll become in this process. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't forget anything further up here. Yeah. Okay, so you can bet you'll see these themes being played out on the world stage, especially because Saturn in Aquarius will have its last square to Uranus and Taurus, still retrograde, by the way, on December 23rd until December 30th. So keep those dates in mind. And there'll be a intense conversation with Pluto. This can be about breaking down structures, big changes, shifts, upward battles, uncertainty on what the new solutions will be. And that's okay. Remember, we're in a retrograde phase. You don't have to have the answers right now. Right now, you're doing the research. You're gathering information. Remember, retrogrades are about a time to sit and reflect and gather information and get ready for when we do go retrograde. Then you can start making action steps, taking action steps to do whatever it is that you've been working on this entire time. So having the deep conversations, again, doing the healing, doing the inner work, doing the reflection, writing things down, taking notes, working on your goals, reflecting on your past, holding yourself accountable, having mature conversations. All these different things here, this is what retrogrades are about. So don't worry if the fears are coming up, whatever it is that this brings out in you, just, again, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it come up. Feel them. Don't be afraid to feel them. Let them work through this process. Let them come through so that you can really, really, really understand what it is. And then, you can, what kind of tools and things can you do to work through? I say these are the times that you might want to get a counselor, talk to somebody, just to have somebody to talk it through, somebody you really, 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 really trust. Trying to do things differently. So say perhaps whenever you go through something, you always lay down, go for a walk. Say you even just challenging your brain to think differently. You always put your right shoe on first because you're a righty. Start with your left. Say you brush your teeth with your right hand because you're a righty. Brush them with your left hand. Change up the routines in your days. Say you get up, eat breakfast, whatever change it. just work backwards forward. You know what I mean? Start with dinner, lunch, and then breakfast. I know you guys are probably like, Keisha, what are you telling me right now? I promise you, because you have to get out of that pattern. There's a pattern that you could be repeating that is not allowing you to think new thoughts. And that's really what we're doing here. It's just like you do anything else in your life, for exercising, or if you're trying to lose weight, you got to work at that every day in order for it to work, right? Well, your brain needs exercises too. And so if you're doing something consistently the same way all the time, it doesn't really allow room or space for your brain to do things differently. So if you take a route to work, the same route every day, try a new route. You know, if you drink the same coffee every day, get a different kind of coffee. Like whatever you can think of that's going to break up the monotony in your brain is going to help you start to bring in more pieces to the puzzle for you at this time. You just got to try something new, try something different. Okay, so yeah. So again, these can be supply chain issues, delays in the systems and structures that we know that we need to change drastically. Mostly caused by people not working. Undoubtedly, that's the biggest trend here, I think, of why we're seeing a lot of these things break down, is because people aren't working anymore. But I definitely think that this is going to lead us to robots. People are just done. Done. They don't want anything to do with it anymore. Robots are going to become the new slaves. And go back and watch iRobot. That is exactly what that movie was all about, if you really paid attention. But this is also why it's important for people to find their purpose, because now more than ever, your purpose is going to help humanity in some kind of way. When I was reflecting on this, I was thinking about the going back to the milkman. Like, I literally had thoughts of white and black, you know, when picture was in white and black, and when people used to get their mail delivered to their home, right? So this is going to go, but okay, so, but we're not in white and black, right? So how does that look today? We're in color. So everything is about electronics. So we already have, I think even now Uber does groceries, but they have all these other apps where you can get your groceries. Use that as a support. Right? You can set it up. You can pick your own times. So say you work, right? You got your tired ass fucking 9 to 5. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. Y'all know how I feel about this country. Okay. You work your 9 to 5. You come home. You know you need some food, but you're exhausted. You don't want to go grocery shopping. Use the apps. I think Uber has it now. Shit, what's the other one? Damn, I don't even know the names. I know the one little, you could do a quick Google search for grocery shopping apps or delivery apps. But there are a few, 3 right off the top of my head that I obviously, you know, my brain's deciding not to think so. Which is so sad. I use this app all the time. If you have a car, fine. But if you don't have a car, who cares? Use Uber to take you to and from. You might find that you save a lot more money. You might think that it's more expensive because having a car is cheaper. And you know what? I don't know the math. Maybe it is, but you have to remember what time we're in. If you have less people out on the streets, it's less traffic, right? This is Aquarius themes right here, right? We are in the age of Aquarius. We are going to be faced with these issues. Do you really need a car? Maybe. Uber can't do everything. Maybe. Okay, you want to have a family trip or something like that. I don't know your life. You're going to have to sit down and have that bigger conversation with yourself. But Aquarius is definitely going to be asking you, do you really need a car? When you have something like Uber. You know, I was in Uber yesterday, and me being the chatty Cathy that I am, I asked the guy, I said, what benefits do you get? Because he had, I don't know how the hell, well, my son had asked him if this used to be a taxi. You know, kids are just very aware. And he's like, oh, he's very, very smart. He said it absolutely was. I had no idea what they were talking about, but I was like, good boy. And just complimented him. And of course, that just brought up a whole nother conversation. And I asked him, I was like, because I like to know, because I am a career coach. I want to know what's better. And I said, so since you used to be a taxi driver, do you think Uber is better, or did you like doing the taxi more? And what he said was, as far as money goes, the taxi was better because he didn't have to worry about paying for the taxi. You know, with Uber, you have your own car. You have to pay for that. That's an additional cost. But he said, what I get to do with Uber is convenience. Blew my fucking socks off, family. This is Venus and Capricorn speaking right now. He said, I get convenience. He said, I'm not under the pressure that you are under when you're in a taxi. When you drive for a taxi company, you know, you got to pick up them calls. You got to get them people. You don't get a break. You don't get to eat. It's go, 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 go. With Uber, it's less stress. He said, and I get to stop and go whenever I want. And I get to take my kids to school and pick them up. I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is Venus and Capricorn. So going back to what I was saying about money, when you're thinking about getting a job, is it allowing you that opportunity? Are you getting that? Because if you're not, family, I'm gonna, with everybody else standing up in their power, just remember all that responsibility falls back on you. Right? So you're not even going to have the big team of people that you have when you take this job, which means you're going to be even more overstimulated than you were with the team of people that you had, right? Aquarius is about freedom. I don't want that stress in my life no more. So you cannot be afraid to ask for the freedoms that you want when you're going into a particular job. Because Venus and Capricorn is going to pull on your energy. And it's going to make you reflect. Is this what I really want? And you're going to have to take a stand. You are going to have to become the boss of your life. Right? And you can find it somewhere else out. Just, you know, my brain's not working right now. So I don't have any other ideas. But again, start from your own life and picturing for your own life. Do you want to be able to pick your kids up and drop them off? Just like that man said. Do you want convenience within your position? Because at that point, then what you really begin to see is that money was never about the money. It was always about, I just want to be living in my life, being happy and free. No stress, still get to spend time with my family, build with my family, making sure that my family completely understands their value, right? All the things that we've lost because these jobs are not allowing us to do them anymore. That's what we're going to get back. Okay, so I talked a lot about that. But so again, if you have a company and you are a business person, deliveries should definitely be a part of that. If you can hire somebody to do your deliveries for you, now you're employing somebody. You get to be the corporate. And that's beautiful. That's what you want to incorporate in your businesses. Now, again, I've done thousands of videos on this because this was all the energy of 2020. And I know I keep saying that. And, you know, if you do find the time to go back, you won't regret it, to listen to those videos, because it's going to, we cannot forget the lessons that Capricorn was asking us of back in 2020 when we had the shutdown. You have to stay in alignment. That's why this has happened. This is what this retrograde is all about. Going back to the past and reflecting to make sure you're staying on track. All right. So having some kind of delivery component, making sure you're getting your groceries delivered. Use the services, family. Help yourself out so you don't have to be so stressed out. Or this is where stores can do farm to table, or restaurants can do farm to table. Or if you have a restaurant, close that down and do a delivery truck. You'll save so much more money, right? And then you don't have the responsibility of the utility bills, the estate, right? The rent that you have to pay. Think about how much money you'll be saving if you just minimize your services. This is what Uranus and Taurus is going to be teaching us. How to be more sustainable efforts, right? Uranus ruling Aquarius. Again, this is the age of Aquarius. Are we still polluting the sky? Why? Is it necessary? What role are you playing? And how are you holding yourself accountable to make sure that you are not doing that, right? Going back to, do you really need that car? Do you really? Just saying. Until you can save up enough to get an electric car, you don't need the car. You're not going to lose out. You're not. Okay. So yeah, being mindful of the environment. We're going to have to rebuild all of that from this collapse. And in order to do that, we're going to be able to have to help each other. And so playing a part in this new way of doing things is going to be super, super crucial. If you're still holding on to the old because you're afraid, just remember what part you're playing in not allowing us to move forward as a society, right? Then January 9th, Venus will conjunct the Sun, which is a new Venus cycle. This will shine a light on what Venus has been going through. The last time we had this cycle was 4 years ago, January 8th, 2018. So what was going on for you back then? What was you going through? What was you working on? And checking in. Have I learned that lesson? Is there still more work that I have to do? This will be around self-love, confidence, abundance, what you're receiving, your ability to receive, and your ability to relate, your ability to create and form relationships, especially with women or as a woman. Remember, Venus in a man's chart represents his wife. And so are you wifey material? Not for the sake of him, all right? I'm not saying that to think about it like you're doing this for him. But you, as a woman, you know, would you marry you? I'm just saying. Would you? Even if you're in a relationship, challenging yourself. Are you still the woman that he fell in love with? You know, would you stay married to you? You know, you gotta hold yourself on accountable for how you're growing within your relationships as a person, not for them. I'm not saying doing this for them. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean for you, for your own peace of mind. You know, are you standing in your power? You know, and holding yourself accountable for those things. Whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you're still the woman that somebody would want to be married to. So, right? Okay. I'm reading through my notes now. Whew. I talked a lot about the self-dating, and we're not going to do that again. So this could be a new intention, a new understanding you're noticing in your life around the themes that I mentioned above that comes up very clear in December. December is going to be a tough month because we're also closing out the Sagittarius and North Node cycle. So it's actually just Sagittarius. And even though we'll have a full moon, right? Because we're having this full moon and Sagittarius is a new moon. Yeah. So Gemini will be another full moon at the end of December, but it will not be an eclipse. Okay. So Sagittarius is the last eclipse of this year before it really moves into Taurus at mid January, where we will have another eclipse, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. But because we're closing out that Sagittarius eclipse, you know, that's just, you know, the energy of eclipses, right? They are very powerful in that way, where they're going to bring up things from that Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle as we wrap it up. What did you learn? And so obviously I'll be doing a live on that, but this is going to be intense, family. You know, what new things did you learn from those eclipses? How are you implementing them in your life? How are you holding yourself accountable? You know, ultimately Capricorn wants to raise your standards because you know your worth. And then we'll have Venus trine Uranus at the end of January. This is going to bring in more solutions to whatever this is that's coming up. Liberation, freedom to change and work differently. You're going to be different people when you come out of this transit. It's a whole 4 months long. It started back in November, and that was more connected to the Taurus eclipse, which again will continue throughout this time in January. So we're really, really, really going to be getting grounded in our values, you know. If you're feeling heavy or weighed down, this is an indication that you need to change something, a perspective, beliefs, or a mindset. This can be feeling like you're not getting enough emotional support if you're not on the same page, but see the potential with somebody. So are you lowering your standards? You know, are you sacrificing your self-respect here? And that goes back to making sure that you're having the conversations with the people in your life to say you need to take space so that you could think some things through, right? Only give what you're giving. Yep, I talked about all that. And this is going to be about your friends too, not just relationships, family too. If you have people in your life who are still hanging around with old people that they know, or that they're always talking about, like, I need to let them go, but yet they're still hanging with, let them go. It might be weighing on your energy. It might be something that's coming up for you that you're just like, like, I'm over it. Like, I don't need to be entertained by things that no longer serve me. Venus will conjunct Pluto again in March, when the U.S. will have its Pluto return, which is another reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because right now, especially if you're in a relationship or have any other kind of connection to other people, you are going to need people to get through this time. I can't stress this enough. And I'm not trying to do the fear-mongering thing. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I don't, right? All I can do is look at these transits and tell you what could happen. And to be quite frank, family, it's not looking good. And I have to be honest about that. These structures need to fall so that we can build new ones. That is going to cause financial devastation, right? And so understanding what your value is to money by looking at it from the perspective of how you want your life to look moving forward is going to help you throughout this time. If you haven't checked out my Venus and my Pluto, U.S. Pluto return chart video, check that out, right? Because it's going to help you. I would even go back and check out the Venus and Gemini video, because those were solutions to some of the things that are going to be coming up for you right now. What did you learn from that last Venus retrograde transit? But the final transit in this Venus transit is going to be about our values are changing drastically. You know, these are our long-term goals. This is going to be a very serious energy. Capricorn is a serious energy. Pluto is intense. It's going to be really intense. And we're going to feel it globally, whatever it is that's coming up. The last Venus transit, or Venus retrograde we had, was in Gemini, connecting with the North Node in Gemini. And this was about how we communicate and say what we need to say in our relationships. Getting educated is going to be key here. I can't stress this enough. Staying curious enough to ask the important questions. Using discernment. Research, gathering information. You really got to go back and listen to that video. Building a community, building with siblings, neighbors. How can you help one another? How are you thinking about helping one another? Like what things are you building within your business that can help others? Being flexible, right? Geminis are very flexible with whatever it is that's coming up, not staying attached to one way of doing something, seeing many different ways of doing something. Yeah, I strongly suggest people going back and watching that video to make sure that you are using all the possible solutions to get through this time. Venus also rules women in power, women in political positions, corporations, or business leaders. Venus in Capricorn requires responsibility, integrity, being responsible for making tough decisions, even if it's a tough choice or it isn't desirable. This is a leader that focuses on making decisions for the long term. Ooh, I can't stress how much that is so important. I feel like I need to read that again. Because this is really about our long-term goals, and so you're going to have to make some decisions right now that you might not see come until later down the line. So going slow and appreciating these retrogrades, like, just remember what that 2020 energy taught us when we all stopped working, is that we really got a chance to focus on ourselves, get real with ourselves, and stay true to the family unit. Stay true to making sure that your house is in order. Stay true to the people that you serve around you. Is there a natural give and take? You have to make time for those things when you're building anything. Honestly, anything. Those are the foundational pieces to making sure that your systems consistently run, because it is a long-term process and people get stuck, and that's okay. But you have to have time to have those conversations to make sure everybody's still on the same page, right? These are the team meetings, the boardroom meetings, and then just fun. Like, get out and have some fun, god damn it. Date a little if it's a relationship. Take the kids out and do something with them. You get out and do something for yourself. Those things should be repetitive at least once a month. At least once a month, right? And so think of this Venus retrograde as that. Okay. If you haven't been operating in this energy, or you're more in the low vibration, which are being a bully, selfish, cold-hearted, someone who doesn't care about relationships or people, this person can be demoted or fall from grace, because Pluto wants to destroy anything that is not in alignment with its higher truth. So on a personal level, this can be with a woman in your life that you are no longer in alignment with. If they don't have integrity, if you don't trust them, if it's not a good friendship or relationship, these things are going to bubble up. They're going to bubble up. They're going to show themselves in ways that, again, it's going to bring tension and pressure. You're not going to be able to... It's going to push you into a corner. You're not going to be able to avoid that feeling. Let it go. Let go and let God. That's what I'm going to say. Trust in the process. Trust in your intuition, and know that as long as you're making the decision and you're not being rude, you're not fighting, you're not arguing, you're not fighting fire with fire, and you're just saying, again, like, I don't know what it is about what I'm feeling right now, but I need space. Right? I need time to think things through clearly for myself. Right? And if people can't respect you for that, they're not worth it anyway. Period. All right. On a personal level, okay, I read that already. This is going to bring up the foundation that your relationships are built on. Are you together for the children only? Are you together for money? Are you together out of obligation or the expectations of your family? This is going back to the lineage. My parents says that I have to stay married because, I don't know, maybe it's a cultural thing. These things are going to be challenged at this time. How can we review this, change it to make sure that it's aligning with your truth, your real authentic truth. Are these people who love you, who respect you and who value you, and vice versa. It goes both ways, you know. It's going to bring up stuff that has been sitting under the surface. This is not going to be easy. The challenges are going to back you into a corner again if you're not aligned. So be gentle and patient with yourself. Be flexible and open to change. If you've been doing the same thing over and over again, try something different. Finally, Jupiter in Pisces is going to further help with this letting go process, with the retreating process. It's going to be a more spiritual thing. We are about to learn some valuable spiritual lessons, family, and how you can, where you can go to get the answers that you need when you're going through things that you feel like you don't have the control over. You go within, you retreat, you ask, just say out loud, Spirit, help me find the answers that I need. And I promise you, if you're in alignment, if you're doing your day-to-day practices, being respectful, holding yourself accountable, the answers will come to you. Even, I feel like now more than ever, way quicker than they would in the past. Because we are in a really spiritual time. And this Jupiter in Pisces, I'm telling you, this is biblical. This is when astrology starts to get biblical. You know, they say in religion that astrology is the devil, but you got 12 disciples, you got 12 zodiac signs. Where do you think they got that from? You know, you got the 3 people who were there for the baby in the manger. They were all astrologers. Go back and do the research, family. I promise you, I can't make I'll be talking more about this again when Jupiter does officially move into Jupiter. And I'm going to break down the biblical references in religion. Like, I can't make this up, but religion is spirituality, right? And so we're going to learn some really deep spiritual lessons about how to implement spiritual practices and learn how to focus on our intuition. This is basic meditation. I promise you, everything that you know about meditation is and has always been about you being able to stop enough around the chaos around you to go within and find your own answers, not looking without yourself. So you are going to learn throughout this next year how to trust your intuition and connect with your ancestors, connect with your spirit guides on a level that I don't even think, not even myself at this point can even fathom right now. It's going to be dope as fuck. And I can't wait. Okay. Okay. Yep. So I've talked your ears off enough. Again, I'm really sorry if I repeated a lot of the same things. I really tried to bring up different situations, scenarios, hopefully even some more solutions to help you get through this time. Get artistic, get in your arts, music, any kind of creative project really helps with times like this to relieve stress and tension. Exercising, going for walks, getting out in nature, hugging a tree. Just get more grounded and be patient with yourself. You don't need answers right now. Just gather some information, collect data, ask the tough questions, and then look forward to some really powerful, strong answers moving forward and the continuation of building on that from March onward, starting next year. Again, family, thank you so much for your time and energy. I love and appreciate every single